Hello, fish peoples. I did something wicked stupid here. I want to share it with you so you don't do it and show you how to correct it. In this corner here of my fish room, I had all these buckets. And behind them, I had a power strip laying here. And it goes to this tank to my left. And I accidentally poured salt water in the power strip. So you can imagine what that does to a power strip. So what I'm going to do is mount it on the wall like you should always do. Do not put power strips on the ground in the fish room or next to an aquarium, because that happens. So I'm going to show you how to do that. It sounds trivial, but maybe some people don't know. Let's not judge. Okay, here's a typical power strip. This is what I'm going to use. I'm going to put it up high so it's easy for me to reach. And on the back of these, you'll find some cutouts, and typically they have screws. You take the screws out. Now the guts are behind, and you just got this plate in your hand. Now this plate has 4 slots in it, and not all of them have 4 slots. So you pick out what the slots that you want, and what we're going to do is figure that out on this wall. We're going to level it, and then we're going to drill some holes and put it back together and mount it. So hold on. Okay, so I picked out 1 slot on the top, 1 slot on the bottom. I broke the tabs out, so now I have holes all the way through. Now you want to pick out some screws and the drywall anchors, and you want screws that will fit in this hole and then slide. See? It's going to make your life a lot easier if you do it that way. So pick out the screws that'll go in the hole and slide. You're going to need some drywall anchors. If you don't use these, eventually it'll fall off. It'll work for a while, but it'll fall off. So let's place it on the wall and see what we want. Okay, here we go. So here's my my channel. You notice that one end has a place where the power goes. So you want that to go in the direction of where you're going to plug it in. That's obvious, but you'd be surprised the number of people that miss that. Okay, I have here a level on top. This is called a torpedo level, and you adjust the thing until you get the bubble in the center. Do you see it in the center there? So now I know it's level. I know the height I want it, and what I do is then draw out these slots I cut out with a pencil. Unless you're spastic like I am, and then you just make a big mess. Voila! So now we know where our holes are going to be. I forgot to tell you something that's very important. Before you go drilling big holes for the drywall anchors, you want to make sure you're not on a stud, because if you drill that big hole where there's a stud, it's not going to work. And you can tell that by listening. So there's a stud right there, so I messed up. You hear that? So there's nothing over here, so it starts right there. So I got to do it over. Okay, so what I did was just shifted it over and used the slot that was up there on the top one. And I got my level back where I want it, so now I mark it again. So I screwed up and you got to see it, because if you do that, you got this great big hole in your wall and there's a stud behind it. It's going to really be a mess. So now I got them marked. Let's check it one more time. Nothing. Hollow. Now I got this mark over here I got to paint. Okay, so now I got to pick out a drill bit. This is the anchor. You see how it's tapered and it's got the head on it? So it's going to go all the way in the drywall until that flat part of this head is flush with the wall. So you don't want a drill bit that's larger than the head. This is a 1/4 inch hole, and it's smaller than that, so I'm going to go down just a little bit. Okay, so I went down to a 7/32. And remember, it's always easy to make a hole larger, but it is really not easy to make a hole smaller. So undersize when in doubt. Camera's too close. Now we put our anchors in. If they don't fit, we'll just make a bigger hole. Okay, as flush as you can get it. But don't hit the drywall with a hammer. That's pretty good, actually. Next one. Okay, that's good enough. Now let's get our screws in here. And now we know that we're going to mount that plate on here, so we don't want to drive those all the way in, right? You just want them to go in far enough that they're going to hold that plate. And that's why I'm doing it manually. If you did this with the power of the driver, you're going to go zooming right into the wall. Now let's get our test piece here, see how far we want to go. So that goes in there and it slides. That's way too far out. Let's go in. Let's keep going, let's keep going, let's keep going. Okay, you put your back on, you screw your back on or snap it. They come in different ways. Then you mount it over your screws and you slide it so that it's nice and firm. So now you've got a power strip on the wall way above the floor where even I couldn't spill salt water in. There you go, rock and roll is here to stay.